The Far Far West playtest just ended yesterday, and I spent a few hours seeing if this chaotic cowboy shooter is worth adding to your wish list. And let me just explain what this game is, because to put it simply, it is a first-person co-op shooter up to 4 players that is also a roguelite. It has a mix of a lot of different gameplay elements with the nice western slash robotic slash undead theme going for it. And honestly, a lot of things that just feel like a weird amalgamation of just like a bunch of things picked out of a hat and they're like, sure, let's go with this. But surprisingly, it all works amazingly well. Just loading up into this western style saloon hub as a robot just feels right. Like I feel like this is a lived in world, and talking to the robots was fun and just seeing what they had to say. But without wasting more time, let's jump into the core gameplay. Let me go over the core gameplay loop of this whole game. And the main thing is you'll be exploring the semi-open world map alongside your horse for loot, side objectives, and just doing missions in general. You'll be killing as many undead creatures as possible in order to level up your character, gear, and so on. The game has a very arcadey feel to it in the best way possible. I love traversing the map and just seeing all the little things you can do and just finding different random enemy camps and destroying them en route to the final boss. There's also little Easter eggs to dig up and find throughout the map, so you really want to go explore and just look at every nook and cranny. It sounds like a simple concept, but when applied, you can see there's a lot more to it, because as I said earlier, you level up your characters, guns, weapons, and even spells. There are spells in this game, and you gain XP based on what you used most to kill the enemies. And you can even gain currency like gold or souls after killing enemies. And this all works amazingly well in tandem, as when you go back to the hub, the big saloon area, you can choose what to spend your gold and souls on throughout the town. And even though it's a pre-alpha, it felt like a very polished game from this aspect, as there were multiple weapons with varying upgrades for each one, 4 different spells with their own separate versions, like a sort of unlock path. For example, the original fireball spell is just a fireball, that's it. But if you use it enough and kill enough enemies with it, it can be leveled up, and you'll have different things in this unlock path. You can unlock a fire beam or a fire wisp that you can then equip alongside the fireball or replace the fireball. This is just really cool spell variety. There's a lot more different ones, and there's 4 main paths. There's the fire path, the lightning path, the voodoo path, and the poison path. They have other names, but I'm just going to call them that. And like I said, each one has their own sort of tree that you can choose what to unlock. Maybe you like a certain spell more than the other. Maybe you want to combine all the poison spells in one. You could do that. Alongside that, there are tweaks that provide modifiers to either you or the weapons you use. And these can range from simple things, like I had a double jump, but you can also get stuff that has a 4% chance to add an explosive bullet to the next shot you fire on your gun. They have rarities depending on what you get from this sort of little gotcha gumball machine, which is really cool. I hate that I like it, but maybe it's because I'm a gambler at heart or something. I don't know. But just the fact that I can gamble away my souls, see if I can get something ranging from common to mythic, I think that's pretty cool and fun. A little gambling doesn't hurt anyone, you know, it's a little gambling. But yes, that's a really cool system. But they even have emotes and skins to unlock in the pre-alpha, which was really cool to see. So I can imagine that in the full release, we'll have even more stuff. Even more weapons, even more skins, even more emotes, even more spells, and so on and so forth. So I think that's very, very good variety. And I thought it was good just for the playtest and pre-alpha. I can imagine it's going to be so much better when it finally releases. Let me go over what the playtest included. Now, in this playtest, I fought all the available bosses on some of the harder difficulties. I couldn't beat the game, truthfully. I couldn't beat it on the hardest mode, which is Nightmare, because it truly was hard as hell. I have gameplay in the background of me playing on Nightmare, but there are just so many enemies, and it just floods the screen with stuff I just felt like I couldn't dodge. It was hectic, in an annoying but fun way. Like, it kept making me retry over and over and over. And I imagine, as I said, this is a co-op shooter. It's probably more lenient when you have more friends to play with and it's easier to manage, but it was rather punishing as a solo player. So hopefully they fix that on that end, because it truly, like I said, it was fun. But it was hell, and it doesn't give you that much XP because you lose the mission. But other than that, the bosses that I faced were really, really nice to play. Like, I really like their designs. I really like going through their whole fight. And performance-wise, I had no hiccups. During my 8 hours of gameplay, and even when I played online with a friend, I had no issues personally at all. But I understand each person has a different PC, so different specs and so on and so forth. But this doesn't feel like a very demanding game, and you can always lower the graphics and hopefully it'll work out then. But overall, really, really good. aside from my one little caveat where it's like, you know, be more lenient towards solo players, I feel like is what this game needs. Now, what worked personally for me, the biggest thing I think was the gunplay and just the spells and how they all worked in tandem and felt really good. The spells have a little cooldown, which of course is needed. So you're just blasting away with your guns. And then every time a spell cooldown would finish, you just activate that for a quick burst of like, whether it be a fire beam or maybe a drain, whatever it is, right? It just helps out. But the bosses, as I mentioned earlier, the bosses were so amazing. I really feel like the art direction was phenomenal for this game. Just truly amazing. And as I said, the bosses were the biggest highlight because they just looked amazing. Designs were amazing. And just starting them up, getting that haze over the field, like a little tornado effect. And it just feels really, really like intimidating, I'd say, to face these bosses, especially in the harder difficulty, because I was like, shit, I don't want to get hit. I don't want to lose health. I'm going to die if I do. Every hit felt very vital. And that's what I really like about this. I want to feel like I'm on edge. I want to feel like I'm in danger constantly. That's just what works for me personally. It was great. Did amazingly on that end. And the soundtrack to boot, just great. My overall verdict though, for a 1 weekend playtest, Far Far West showed a lot of promise, chaotic, stylish, and genuinely fun. And I think that's what a lot of people are looking for. You get to progress your character and gear, you get great gunplay and spells, and a nice undead robot cowboy feel to all of it. I just don't see where you can go wrong. And the fact that you can play with your friends, I feel like that sells it for a lot of people as well. Just having that co-op element. And for me personally, I could see myself buying this as soon as possible. The game is planned to release next year, but if it drops in early access later this year, I'll definitely be picking this up, and I genuinely recommend that you all do the same. And I hope you guys all wishlist this. But as someone who plays these type of games a lot, I can definitely say this is something that I will be keeping on my radar. And drop a comment if you guys played it and what stood out to you personally. Like and subscribe, and I hope to see you all again.